there, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if it's your first time here. Either way, I'm so glad that you're joining me today because unlike my last video I did where I was holding myself accountable for weight loss and all those things and health, not just weight loss, but just overall health, today I have no problem talking about this video because it's one of my favorite things ever, and that is travel. So I think the thing about travel is there are so many different ways or places to travel. Travel doesn't have to be anything that is, over the top fancy, which those are great. I love those type of vacations, but then travel can also just be, taking a road trip and experiencing something new and getting away from your surroundings. And going along with that is everyone has different ways to travel, right? And everyone has different perspectives on how to travel. So I'm going to share my perspective on how I travel and how I plan vacations and trips and all those good things. So my perspective on travel is I am someone in my 40s. I'm a 40-year-old woman without kids and without a husband. So that, right, I feel like the way you live or the season of life you're in affects your travel and your views on it, and even maybe places where you do choose to go. So I'm going to share, the things I'm going to tell you are from my perspective, so hopefully you can find I could include planning for Disney World in this video, but honestly, even for someone that has been there before and is familiar with Disney World, that Disney World planning is just, it's a whole production and thing on its own, so I won't be including that here. So no matter what your experience or perspective is, I think the very first two things you need to consider when you are planning to travel anywhere is where you're going to go and what time of year you're going to go. Because I definitely think there are pros and cons to different times of year where you may travel. I think if you can swing it, August, September, October are excellent times to travel. But then you also need to consider where you're traveling to. So like if you're going somewhere like Florida, September and October are hurricane season. So that may impact your plans. Or I think also if you can swing it, traveling in January and February is awesome because those are lower travel times. So you tend to find better deals and lower crowds. But the caveat to that is January and February are dead of winter, right? I took a trip a few years ago to Florida in February for my birthday, and February is nice and pleasant for the most part all year round, right? The problem is my part of Texas, actually all of Texas at that time, if you remember Snowmageddon in 2021, that was going on at the same time that I was in Florida, and that caused some problems when I got home. Thankfully, I made it home safely. But if you live in an area that tends to get a lot of icy weather or things, or if you plan on traveling somewhere where it's going to be colder, during the first part of the year, you may want to consider either holding off or going at a different time. Okay, you also need to establish if you are going to do a solo trip, which I think are wonderful. I'm getting more and more into solo travel. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna book a vacation or a cruise actually next year for after my birthday, but stay tuned for that. That's just an aside. That's just me rambling and thinking out loud. Anyway, are you going to go solo or are you going to travel with someone? Now, here is the thing about traveling with other people. Everyone cannot travel together. Everyone does not travel together well. I do have a group of friends that are the only people I would do group trips with, or a few of my cousins, and honestly, that's it. And you know what? I think it's okay to say that, that one, you can't travel with everybody, and two, you really don't want to travel with everybody. Everyone's preferences and travel styles are not compatible, and those birds are getting on my nerves. Anyway, they picked a lovely time to be outside of my window. I'm sure that we have all seen or heard those stories of like friendships falling apart on group trips, which is really unfortunate. So my advice to you is if you ever feel uneasy planning a trip with a certain group of people, or if you're invited on a trip with people and you're in the planning process and it just doesn't feel right, like that's the sign. That's the sign you need to be like, hey, maybe, this trip is not for me. I'm going to sit this one out or take a solo trip. But yeah, definitely you have to consider the people that you travel with because, things like, are you both early risers? Are you both night owls? Do you both have the same budget? Do you like to travel to the same places, or do you have the same places to travel in mind? Those are things like you have to think about. How are you going to split the cost of the vacations or the cost of the vacation? How are you going to split hotel? Do you both like the same types of hotels? Because me personally, I like nicer hotels. If you are the type that you're like, oh, I don't care where I sleep, we can't travel together. And that's okay. Okay, so speaking of solo travel, I do think that some places are more suited for solo travel or are safer for solo travel. So I think I'm an adult who enjoys Disney, so I think Disney World is a good option. I feel safe there when I'm on a solo trip. A place like Savannah, Georgia, I think is great for solo travel. I'm trying to be braver and do more places, more destinations solo. I've done parts of New Orleans solo a few times some years ago where I was, by myself for a day or a few hours. That was pre-COVID though. I don't know that I would recommend that now. Maybe like during the day, like if you're on a tour or on a streetcar or something like that, you would be fine. But at night, especially on like Bourbon Street, I would not recommend that. 0 out of 0, do not recommend. And I trust myself, but I don't necessarily trust other people to have common sense and make safe choices. So that's why I say that. I know solo cruising is getting more popular, and I'm trying to be brave and do a solo cruise, but I'm just not sold yet. So if you have any advice for that, you can let me know in the comments, but I'll keep you updated on that. Anyway, so definitely decide, are you going to go solo on this trip or are you going to go with people? Y'all, the people you travel with are important. And before you just jump in and start planning a trip, like, you need to talk about it. Save yourself and the other person the drama, the headache, and any any potential issues with things like budget and preferences and all that. Should you use a travel agent? The answer for me, and I think the answer for you, is yes. I do, and this is not a sponsored video. I do have one company that I work with, that I have worked with since 2018, and I will not work with anyone else. I have a friend that is an agent with the company, and I know the owner of the company. Adore them both dearly and will always recommend them. I will link the information for my friend Laura, who can help you plan any vacation. I will link that information in the description box below, so definitely give her a call. Even for someone who is a seasoned traveler, I still use a travel agent. One, because their services have value. Sometimes travel agents can get you exclusive deals and promotions or discounts for certain places that you want to go. And in my experience, if something goes wrong or you have a question, you can reach out to them. And sometimes, booking directly, that can be a little more difficult, and it's not always as personalized. I am the type, even though like some vacations I could plan like that in 30 seconds, I will still always use a travel agent just because of that personal connection, and you may be able to get a certain deal or promotion or like vacation credits depending on where you're going, and then also to support small business. I am a huge advocate of that. Now, I do not recommend booking third party for anything: hotel, rental car, airfare, and I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with doing that, but I just won't do that because if there's ever a problem, it's just much easier to reach out to the company directly. So, you know, a certain website may have a great deal on hotel rooms, but again, I've heard stories all the time where, you know, they oversold, or people go to check in and there are just a host of issues. And to me, when I go somewhere, when I'm on a trip, I want as less of a headache as possible. So to me, that third-party sites are just, they're a roadblock, to be honest. And again, that's my preference. You may not feel the same, and that's okay. If you don't, you know, you can tell me. And, you know, we can respectfully disagree, or, you know, get a different point of view on things. Also, I will never stay in like an Airbnb or a Vrbo. I just won't do it. And I can go into some reasons why. Okay, so just to recap, one, you need to decide where you're gonna go and what time of year you're gonna go. That can definitely affect your vacation, and it can also affect the cost. You need to decide if you're gonna go, you need to decide if you're gonna go solo on that trip or if you're gonna travel with someone. You know, solo travel and, you know, traveling with other people, each have their pros and cons. And then I recommend, is that my fifth point? Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I used to be a teacher, y'all, so I should know at least how to count to 5. But I just lost track. I definitely recommend using a travel agent when possible. You know, some people say, oh no, I like to be in control of my vacation. You can still be in control of your vacation while using a travel agent. You just tell them what you want. Tell them what you want, they book it, you pay for it, and you're done. Okay, so let this video be the sign that you need to book a trip. It doesn't matter if it's a road trip or you hop on a plane, just pack your bags and go somewhere that you've been meaning to go. I am always going to support someone traveling. And you know what? I think it's one of the best things you can do in life, right? It can be as simple as you want. Your trip can be as simple as you want, or it can be as extravagant as you want it to be. The point is, book the trip. So this is your sign. I am so excited because next month I am going to Disney World with a friend. It's going to be super hot. I normally don't recommend going to Disney World during the summer because it is so hot, but this is an opportunity like I just can't pass up. And I was graciously invited on this trip. But more details about that when the trip actually comes. I sadly am not going to Alaska anymore because I had to get a new car. So yay for a new car, which I love. It's got so many more features. It's got heated and cooled seats, which thank you, Jesus. When you're in perimenopause, like you need to stay cool at all times. So I'm loving that, but yay for car, sad for cruise, but it's okay. The opportunity will come around again. And then let's see what else. Planning on a road trip somewhere in state in Texas with a friend at some point later. And then I'll see if I can squeeze in one more weekend trip before the year is out, before Christmas. But anyway, those things are all just me rambling. Like I told you, I do that here, right? Like if you're looking for perfection and aesthetics, this is not the channel for you. I just am who I am. But anyway, thank you so much for watching today's video. I'm so glad that you were here. I would appreciate it if you would like, comment, subscribe. That really does help the channel. We are a small but mighty operation here. And do you have any travel plans for the year? Or any maybe bucket list places that you would like to go? Definitely let me know in the comments. And wherever you are, I hope that you are having a great day. I hope that you are staying cool because it's going to be 100 degrees already here in Texas. Oh, but thank God that I can just stay indoors for most of today because I definitely was not ready for that. Anyway, I will see you guys for the next video. Have a good one. Bye.